afternoon and welcome to the news at 3. First, the highlights. The PDP Board of Trustees weighed into wrangling between Governor Wike and party in Port Harcourt. Federal government to reopen federal universities following registration of 2 new unions. Plus, Police Service Commission dismisses 7 senior officers. Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 3. I am Akilachi Keje. Remember, vote buying is undemocratic. Don't just register for your PVC. Collect. Use it to vote credible leaders in the forthcoming elections. The Rivers State Governor Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike hosted a delegation of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party at the Government House in Port Harcourt. The delegation was led by the PDP BOT acting chairman, Senator Adolphus Wabara, who said the effort at resolving the lingering crisis rocking the party is now a work in progress. Tamno Barabi Ibulubo tells it from here.
Those on the delegation with Senator Wabara are Dr. Ibrahim Idris, Chief Ekweseleze Nwodo, Chief Swahib Oyedekun, Kabiru Turaki, Dr. Esther Odehi, and Ajia Zainab Maina. After the closed-door meeting, Senator Wabara said the meeting afforded them the opportunity to properly understand the concerns of Governor Wike and his group, and they are better informed about the crisis. Senator Wabara said they were taking what they have gathered in Port Harcourt from the Rivers State Governor back to the larger BOT house in Abuja to take a position. According to him, since this was the first meeting of the BOT intervening the crisis, they were optimistic of attending to the issues as a family.
Rubbing minds for the past 4 hours with His Excellency, the performing Governor of Rivers State, Mr. Project. It's always easy to destroy, but to make peace takes some time. We have been briefed by His Excellency, going back to Abuja to really digest all that we gathered from His Excellency.
Governor Wike said what is important to all of them is to ensure that the unity of the party is not endangered. The Rivers State Governor reiterated their position that they were not leaving the party but are more interested that the contending internal issues be addressed adequately. Tamunno Barabi Iblubo, RSTV News.
The Rivers State Deputy Governor Dr. Ipalibo Banigo has assured the people of Abua Odro local government area of a provision of undivided representation if voted into Senate come February 2023. Dr. Banigo gave this assurance when leaders and critical stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party met with her at the Government House Port Harcourt to map out her campaign strategies. Doris Tams Morrison has more.
The Deputy Governor expressed excitement at the meeting held for the stakeholders to understand themselves and ensure the party wins at the elections in 2023, adding that the local government area will be better than what it is now if she emerges as the Rivers West Senator.
The PVC's permanent voter cards that are ready at the INEC office is over 200,000 from the last registration. Over 200,000 have not been collected. And from the registrations that have been done for this beginning of this year, quite a number of them are ready, but they are not collected. I recall that before they closed the date of registration, I tried to do some jingles. I did them in all the different languages. I remember doing the one that were language too. So I want us to do now to help ourselves really is also to reach out to our various constituents and communities and to encourage the collection of these PVCs, because they must realize that this time around, with this Electoral Act 2022, the votes will surely count.
In a related development, Dr. Ipalibo Banigo, who is the Rivers West Senatorial District candidate of the PDP in the upcoming polls, has also met with leaders of the PDP in Awuda East local government area, where she urged them to reach out to their constituents and encourage them to guard their PVCs. She said the campaigns will be unit-based.
We were very carefully painstakingly chosen, and that's because of your credibility and what you will bring to us in the election, in the campaign, and during the election and thereafter. Obviously, you are very, very committed PDP members. So I salute you for this recognition, and I congratulate you for this selection on this election committee. PDP!
In his remarks, Dr. Nname Robinson Ewo, who is the vice chairman of the Rivers West Senatorial District of the PDP, said there is a need for members of the PDP to go out and establish their presence in all the units, wards, and constituencies, stressing the upcoming election will be totally different from previous ones. Doris Tams Morrison, RSTV News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has met behind closed doors with the leadership of the House of Representatives over the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Sources report that the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, led officials of the lower chamber to the meeting. Speaking to the State House at the end of the meeting, Gbajabiamila described the engagement with the President as very fruitful. He disclosed that the President had pledged to look into the House's recommendations aimed at resolving the ongoing strike embarked upon by the university lecturers over 8 months ago. The Speaker stated that the recommendations submitted to the President were outcomes of series of meetings with stakeholders in the nation's education sector. According to the Speaker, the President has agreed to go through the report and asked for some days to digest it, after which he will make a final decision by Thursday. The Speaker assured Nigerians that the ongoing strike by the lecturers will soon be over, as both parties, that is, both ASU and the federal government, had agreed to shift grounds for the general good of the country. Meanwhile, federal government says it will direct vice-chancellors of federal universities to reopen their institutions following the registration of 2 new unions. The unions are the Congress of Nigerian University Academics, CONUA, a breakaway faction of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and the Nigerian Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA. CONUA is led by Niyi Shumonu, an Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife lecturer, while NAMDA is headed by Nosa Irue. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, who presented letters of approval to the leaderships of CONUA and NAMDA in Abuja, said, with the development, students who have been at home since February 14, when ASU began its ongoing strike, can now return to classrooms. Ngige defended the registration, saying that CONUA and NAMDA can now coexist with ASU in the university system. He, however, was silent on when the resumption would commence. The federal government is projecting 3.7% growth in Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, a 17% inflation rate, and 1.6 million barrel daily oil production in the next year's budget estimate. President Buhari is scheduled to lay the 19.76 trillion naira 2023 budget estimate before lawmakers at a joint session of the National Assembly by 10 a.m. on Friday. The scheduled presentation is contained in a presidential memo sent by the Senate President Ahmad Lawan and House of Representatives Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. The memo, which was read in both chambers of the National Assembly at plenary, said, according to Lawan, the presentation by the President will be at the temporary chamber of the House of Representatives at the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper interaction with the Senate Committee on Finance. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, gave a breakdown of the aggregate expenditure of the 19.76 trillion naira for the next fiscal year. According to Zainab, the federal government was projecting a total revenue of 8.46 trillion naira, out of which 1.9 trillion naira was expected to come from oil-related sources and the balance from non-oil sources. The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Power to conduct investigation into the root causes of incessant national grid collapse in the country. The committee was mandated to look into the transmission company of Nigeria's capacity to address the ugly trend in order to forestall future occurrences and protect already fragile socio-economic environment. The resolution of the lawmakers, which followed the adoption of a motion of urgent national importance sponsored by Honorable Sani Bala at the plenary. Bala, who moved the motion, said the House was aware that the national grid collapse occur when there are system disturbances along the transmission lines connecting a number of generating stations. He expressed concerns that since 2013, when the privatization exercise took place in the power sector, The country has witnessed over 100 national grid collapses, a challenge which experts and operators said would linger for a long time if not addressed. He further expressed concerns that this year the national grid had collapsed 7 times, more than the 3 times recorded last year, thereby causing national power outages with enormous social and economic implications. Now time for a break. Vote buying is undemocratic. Don't just register for your PVC, use it to vote credible leaders in the forthcoming elections. But still to come, Danish Prime Minister called for a general election in November. Details shortly.
This is RSTV World News. We bring you world-class news, accurate, first-hand, entertaining, balanced analysis. RSTV, Channel 22 Port Harcourt.
Still the news at 3. Welcome back. Reports reaching our news desk say Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of a new Postmaster General Chief Executive for the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST. He is Honorable Adepoju Adeyemi Sunday, a former House of the Representatives. The appointment followed the recommendations by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Pantami. According to the statement by spokesperson to the Minister, Uwa Suleiman, the new Postmaster General of NIPOST is appointed for an initial term of 5 years. The Police Service Commission has approved the dismissal of 7 senior police officers over gross misconduct and has approved the reduction of their ranks of 10 other officers. The decisions were taken at the ongoing 15th plenary meeting of the Commission, which is expected to end on Thursday. The dismissed officers are 1 Chief Superintendent of Police, CSP, a Superintendent of Police, SP, and 5 Assistant Superintendents of Police, ASPs. A head of Press and Public Relations, Ikechukwu Ani, said an SP also retired in public interest. The Commission also reduced the ranks of 1 CSP to an SP, 3 SPs to DSPs, and 2 DSPs to ASPs, then further reduced the ranks of 4 ASPs to inspectors. The Commission's plenary meeting was presided over by Justice Clara Bata Ogumbi, considered all the pending disciplinary matters before the Commission, totaling 47, and treated some appeals from dismissed police officers. The names of the affected officers were not disclosed. Meanwhile, the Builders Registration Council of Nigeria, BRCN, and the member representing Gwe East and West Federal Constituency in Benue State in the House of Representatives, Honorable Mark Bila, has assured that the frequent collapse of buildings in the country will soon be addressed through laws. The council and the lawmaker also harped on the need for a very strong adherence to the building code by all professional builders in the building sector, as well as proper registration of all building professionals by the body. This was made known during a working visit by the professional body to the lawmaker, wherein the professional body called for a review of the legal and regulatory framework for the nation's building industry in order to address the issue of incessant collapse of buildings. The council called for a formal enactment of the Builders Restoration Act Amendment Bill by the House of Representatives in order to address the issue of quackery in the industry. And now on the foreign scene, reports say that the Moroccan government has issued 10 permits for farmers to legally grow cannabis for industry and export for the first time. Farmers in the northern region of Al Hoceima, Shafshain, Tonate will be allowed to produce and sell cannabis for medical, pharmaceutical, and industrial use in accordance with the law passed by Parliament last year. The National Agency Regulating Cannabis Activity, which issued the permit, said farmers will be encouraged to increase legal cannabis production to meet the need of the market, adding that Morocco has long been one of the world's largest producers of illegal cannabis. Cannabis is grown in the poorest mountainous regions of the northern African country and trafficked to Europe. The government's move is to legalize cannabis production and to improve the conditions of the poor farmers and generate revenue for the economy. And in Denmark, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has called for a general election November 1, 7 months ahead of the end of her office term. Frederiksen, who has headed the Social Democratic minority government since June 2019, has seen her popularity dwindle in recent weeks due to her role in a pandemic-era decision to wipe out Denmark's entire captive mink population. In June, a Danish parliament-appointed commission harshly criticized Frederiksen's government for its decision to cull millions of healthy mink at the height of the coronavirus pandemic to protect humans from a mutation of the virus. Polls show that the center-left bloc is neck and neck with the center-right opposition, which includes parties that want to reduce immigration. The election will select members of the 179 seats for parliament. And in India, no fewer than 10 people have been killed and many more are missing after an avalanche struck a team of mountaineers high in
trainee
Indian
mountaineers
Himalayas. 34 trainees and 7 instructors were practicing navigation when they were hit on their descent from a peak in the northern state of Uttarakhand. The group was made up of trainees from the nearby Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. It said they were returning from had been Mountain Drupadi Danda II when the avalanche struck. Police now say 14 people have been rescued while nearly 20 are missing, adding that the Indian Air Force is helping with the rescue efforts. Authorities were alerted around 9:30 local time, while rescue workers said search efforts were paused overnight because of rain and snowfall, but resumed today. Movie company Marvel has confirmed the identity of Black Panther in its official trailer. Bright Maxwell tells us more.
The identity of the Black Panther has sparked online debate for months, with production only confirming no plans to recast Chadwick Boseman's character. Marvel has debuted the official trailer for its highly anticipated Black Panther sequel, Wakanda Forever, ahead of its November 11 theatrical debut. The new trailer, which debuted alongside news of early ticket sales, finally lets fans in on what to expect from the sequel, while unveiling the identity of the Black Panther, a topic of intense debate this past month. Though the studio is yet to confirm, the teaser is enough to keep fans buzzing in a bid to connect the dots. Since the sequel's announcements, speculations have been rife about Wright taking on the Black Panther suits. Rush tallied 4.66 million streams, #1 on streaming, and 40.3 million in radio. Its official video was also released on Monday, allowing the song to reach up to 1.73 million airplay impressions on TV. This makes Arya Starr the first female artist with multiple #1 songs in Nigeria. Bloody Samaritan also peaked at #1 a year and a week ago in Nigeria. Also, with Rush at #1, it marks the first time a female artist has reached the summit of an aggregate chart in Nigeria. Inkblot Productions has offered film lovers a glossy first-look teaser for its December debut, Palava, starring Richard Mofe Damijo. Palava is set to follow Osawanda, a high-life musician in the middle of a resurgence, whose life and family are turned upside down. A scandal is revealed on the eve of his 60th birthday. Filming reportedly wrapped up this September with Niyi Akimolayan directing. The star-studded cast include Chinedu Ikedieze, Jemima Osondu, Bisola Ayola, Iyabo Ojo, Mercy Agibe, Eniola Badmus, Shegun Arinze, Gideon Okeke, Omaomi, and Big Brother Naija alumnus, amongst others. Bright Maxwell, RSTV Entertainment News.
Vote buying is undemocratic. Don't just register for your PVC. Collect, use it to vote credible leaders in the forthcoming elections. And that's the size of our news bulletin at this hour. I am Akilachi Keje. Stay tuned for more interesting programs.
This is RSTV World News.